to BizChicks TV. We're here to help you take the hassle out of your hustle so you can build a profitable business that's fun to run. Here are your hosts.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizChicks TV. Today, we're talking with Coach Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada, talking about bringing those profits in daily. Listen, guys, if you are not familiar with Coach Caren, I want you to know that she has expertise in a number of industries. She has operated in child care services. She's done janitorial services. She has been outstanding in the field of fashion and manufacturing. Hey, you need to talk to her if you want to run a profitable business that's fun to run. So we're going to get started this morning without further ado. Coach, it's so good to have you in the studio.
Thank
What do you
you.
have for us today?
We are continuous journey about goal setting. A few weeks ago, we started off talking about how to actually create goals for this third quarter that's coming up and what it takes. And then we talk about steps to creating a goal, and we covered finding something exciting to set as a goal, because that's number one. When you're excited about something, you really want to go after it. Anything new excites most of us. And so we feel more energized to get in there and get it done. And so that's the first thing I want to get excited. That's why we talked about that last week. Today, we're going to talk about writing it all down. And next week, we're going to cover like charts and workflow. Because I tell you, when you get these things in place, you feel like you're running a legit business. You're not scrambling anymore. There's this chart that you go to. I don't know for you, Terry, but you ever been to a workplace and there is a whiteboard up, or never mind anywhere, but go to the hospital. There's always this whiteboard up with what nurse is on duty, what doctor is working, what is his specialty. In case you didn't know that, at least that's what they do here in Canada. So if you didn't know, you can go and scan on the board and you can see who is on which shift. And even if you don't know the person, you can inquire about them casually. Like you could simply say, I see Nurse Angel is on today. How is she? Is she friendly? Does she have a good time at work? And because they don't think it's anything, the front desk will tell you, oh my God, she's such a sweetheart. They will literally
tell you about the individuals. Yes.
Yes. And that can set your mind at ease when you come in. Okay. I love that we try to treat nurse when you come in. It's always really pleasant people who want to smile and have great conversation with you. I will say for most of the hospital here, let me turn my phone off because I didn't think I did. And it tends to want to ring.
Yes.
At that time.
I put you on solo for a second.
Yes. And this is what happened. So imagine you're starting your little business. You don't have a big board, but you have a board to some capacity. And you have figured out all this stuff. So when you come into work, you are ready to go because you have set yourself up for success. You know when you come in, today's Wednesday, let's say you were looking at, I like to call it Wealthy Winning Wednesday. You're looking at your wealth chart. You're looking at the things you've won before and how you can win today and the rest of the week. And you've got all those things set up to go. But before you got there, you got excited about an idea. And now you're working in your best self to make that come to light. And so today we're talking about writing it all down because you see, it's there. It's in our heads. We know it. But I promise you, unless you write that thing down, it just goes away. This morning, I was watching a little tiny, not a commercial, but somebody put it up on Facebook, and I was smiling to myself because the mom says, whatever the child's name, let's say Carla, I want you to buy a loaf of bread, a box of milk, and a stick of butter. And it was all stuff, right? Old time days, but it doesn't matter. And mom said, would you want me to write it down? And Carla says, no, I don't want to write it down. I'm going to remember. She gets to the store and she says a loaf of bread, a carton of milk, and she can remember the third thing. Okay. And that's a perfect example of what happened with our mind. We think about things that we want to do. We are excited to get it done, but it feels like a multitude to go write it down because we're like, it's so much. But the truth is,
why is that?
Because our brain is tricking us into thinking. So let me tell you, we talk about people against us. We're against ourselves. We are our first enemies. We fight us, period. It's not because we don't want to see ourselves do well, but it's a couple of reasons. We don't want to lose the people around us and they fall away when we start doing great. But subconsciously, we don't realize that. You can lose a parent, a spouse, a sibling, a good friend that you grew up with. And all those things are weighing on you subconsciously, but you do not know it. So those are the fears that you're tackling without understanding those fears. Because the minute you climb, you're going to lose one or two people. Every climb is another set. This is why they say you're lonely at the top. The key is, because you pre-know this, you can start finding new two or three people to replace. We do not do that because we want to keep the people that is there, that we know, like, and trust. And nothing is wrong with that. But sometimes they cannot come to the next level.
I like that. I think we do need to understand that you can't take everybody with you.
You can't. You can't. And it dawned on me this morning. You could have a friend, a spouse, anybody in the struggle together. And you can talk a lot about the struggle you're going through. And you can decide as a bundle that you want to come out of the struggle.
Yes.
And if you decide to work on it, and the other person, because you cannot dictate how they behave, you will be dragging yourself to get to the next level. Okay. Before I even talk about the writing, I'm just going to tell you guys this little story. Terry probably heard me for years ago, but I had 13 male friends that we hang together. We all were teenagers. Me and two of them started going out since we were like 14, like our older cousins and siblings would take us out to parties with them. And I'm sure they're just dragging us along because then it allowed the moms to say, yes, you can go because other people are with you.
Yes.
I don't think they wanted to take us, but because it allowed them to go, they take us. And so we formed this bond. And then a lot of other people come in, his friend, my friend. And we end up with about 13, with myself included, about 14 of us, sometimes 15. But the core was these 13 guys and Caren. And when we were just partying and finishing up school, the ones who were whatever, it was all fun and games. But I think when we hit about, at least for me, when I hit about 17, I remember saying to the guys, I'm like, guys, they came to play cards tonight. And I said, what are you guys thinking of doing for your future? Now, I've always been in business. So for me, I find mine was set. But the guys didn't have direction. They weren't sure what they're doing. I'm like, you're working part-time jobs. What do you guys want to do? And some of them did not know. And over time, because we decided as a group, we did rise as a group. The carver carved, the teacher, the guy that wanted to be a teacher became a teacher. The guy wanted to be a police officer, he did. One was in the army. The other guy was a fisherman, and he was embarrassed to say it because dad was a fisherman. And he says, Caren, a day he came, he says, I didn't want to say it in the group, but I really admire my dad. And all I really want to be is a fisherman. I said, Clement, then that's what you are. You don't have to explain to anybody. If you love 3 a.m. on the river quietly with your dad in the boat that he owns, and he has several, then that's what you are.
Wow.
You don't listen to anybody. And so Clement became a really great fisherman. And he says, Caren, your words really penetrated on me because my mom would say, go to school, get a forward education. She said, but I knew in my heart I was going to take over my dad's business. I'm the only son he has, and he's been wanting that. But it's not because he wanted, because I want it as well. I enjoy see him.
What a blessing.
Right? I enjoy see how he treat the workers.
Yes.
And this is like big on me. Like, that's what's going to be my responsibility. But I better learn what happens before I just shout at people or tell them what they cannot do. And he said, that's what my dad wanted, right? And his mom and dad are separated, but at the time, he wanted it so badly, and he did well in it. Nigel was an upholsterer, and Nigel was just working part-time. And he said, Caren, I really want to do this full-time, but I heard you don't make a lot of money. I said, you're going to make all the money you need if you go at this really good. Talking about writing, I said, this is what you're going to do. When you get in there, you're going to ask the guy what he expects of you. And then you go after 3 months, you're going to ask, at that time, you're going to find out how he's going to raise your pay. And once you get good, if he doesn't want to, we're going to find a new upholstery shop. And so we would gather at least once a week to see where we were at. Let me tell you guys, we were writing this down. Everybody knew that I was selling 50 freezy per day, and my goal was 100 freezy. This was written down. Everybody knew that I was selling 24 to 25 bags of planning chips, but I was wanting to go to 100 a week. Everybody knew I sell so much bread, but I wanted to make more, and just other snacks. So we talk money, we talk timeline. We knew we like to meet and chat, and we recognized we can't meet every day of the week anymore. We could only meet certain days of the week.
Okay, now how old were you there?
I was 17.
running a mastermind. Is that not a mastermind?
It really is.
People get together and help solve one another's situations,
Yes.
conditions, plan,
Yes.
and support each other.
Yes. And I tell you, when you take that approach, even if you're feeling afraid, I wasn't, because I was used to just moving along my way. But when you got somebody who's in your corner, so they don't have to worry if the parents didn't like it or any other friends didn't like it, because they had their own separate friends from the group. But they always would come back and say, when I'm here, I feel like at home. Karen, when we visit you, we feel great because we know we're going to leave with something. People start saying this over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I didn't recognize it. But then when new people come on board, they would say, so I heard you help my friend do X, Y, and Z. And I would always be like, because I didn't even think I was doing anything great other than gathering people.
I hear you.
So that economically, we all can be secure with monies. And so that when we go out, because that was part of our problems, when we go to a party, we're figuring out who's going to pay, what money's going to be there, because we all are getting paid, well, them at the time, from their parents. I was providing for myself. And I wanted to tell the guys, I'm like, you guys can do this because you're going to get wives at some point. And you're going to have to figure out how you can afford your wives. Because if you like those nice girls, you're going to have to be able to financially afford them. Like you have to buy everything, but and
we'll provide for family too.
Yeah. So we used to have these good conversations. And guys, why am I telling you this? Because we wrote it down. I don't even understand at the time why, but I had this book where I write, your name goes up there. What are we doing? And what are we going to be talking about? And what needs to happen? When Paul was writing the police exam, we all were behind him, studying with him, giving him, testing him through it. The morning before the exam, he left at 6 a.m. He came, wrapped me up at 5:30. We run through them, went and wrote the exam, passed with flying colors. 99%.
A mock interview and mock exams. And, we do these things because they come naturally to us.
Yes, that's what it was. Naturally. So we were excited once he passed and he came in. We had a big celebration for him. I cook, I bake, friends came. We had a good old time on the weekend. And then when he went in for training, again, we sent him off. I sent him off with a bunch of goodies because he went away for a couple of months for training. Mm-hmm. And I wanted him to have a bunch of things to go with. And I remember another friend of mine, and she's like, what are you making such a big fuss for? I'm like, are you kidding me?
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. Our friend is going to be a police officer. And we want him to know if he went there. I told him, and anything went wrong and he didn't like it anymore, he can come back and we could decide where he's going next. He doesn't have to stay.
That will give you confidence because you now have a plan B, someone to help you do a plan B if plan A doesn't work. And that is a phenomenal gift.
And let me tell you how that thing played out, because when I went to bury my dad about 7 or 8 years ago, I saw my friend. And he is not a cop anymore because certain things he didn't like. And mm-hmm. He said to me, Karen, I remember you saying that when it get hard, if it don't want to be there, I don't have to. And when I left, I said, I don't have to. Yes. I will drive a cab if that's what I need to do till I figure out what I need to do. And that's what he was doing when I got there. I said, no shame. He said, no shame. Because I remembered. It didn't matter what I do.
Because the shame of what we construe as failure can railroad your life and just take it in a direction it has no business going in.
Exactly. So when I tell you write it down, I say I do it, I teach it. This is purposeful. What is the purpose of writing it all down? It is the roadmap. It is the roadmap for the thing you want to do. Mm-hmm. It also gives you permission, because in that written form, you get yourself permission, if you don't have a group of people like we did, to say, hey, I don't like it anymore. If you went mm-hmm. and get a degree, you spend 4 years, I don't want you to listen to anybody who say, well, you spend 4 years and you owe a lot of money, you're going to have to do it. Don't listen to them. Because part of what happened in that 4 years is that you grew. You learn some things. You meet some people that's going to come back around
Mm-hmm.
and be in your facility at some point. That's why you touch base. I tell my mom, I said, people laugh at my kids about the Harley Quinn, the Hallmark movies, but
Oh,
Hallmark try to show you that when you encounter somebody, you're going to meet them several times over. And if you pay attention to the movies, that's the rhythm of the movie. I meet
that's
you,
true.
and then I'm going to meet you, and then I'm going to meet you again. I know it's a
And
powerful
and
tool.
it also has a theme many times of people returning home
Yes,
after venturing out,
yes.
having success or not having success, but eventually coming back through home, meeting the person that they'd met before, and a decision is made.
Exactly. And we can sort it any different way we like because just like Cinderella, I always loved the movie Cinderella. And I'd seen myself as a Cinderella growing up, but not the punishing way that the story's written, in the sense of business is going to take me out of what I'm punishing in. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how I see me. So I see Cinderella differently. And that was a story I read possibly over 50 times as a child because
Mm-hmm.
there was just this thing in it that tells me that no matter what was happening, there was this light at the end of the tunnel and it's there for my taking and I'm going to get my turn and it's going to happen. I just have to stick it out no matter how bad I feel it gets. And the minute I was able to recognize that in myself, I started finding people who was worse off than me,
Mm.
who was in such dire need that I could help them. And it wasn't a first conscious decision. It was subconsciously happening, and then it consciously come to the forefront. So that's why when whatever's happening to you, no matter how cloudy your world feel and how disfigured and whatever's going on and fragmented, I want you to sit down and write those goals that you know that you want to work towards. Get excited about them. Write out everything, dump it on paper, like paper. I mean, I will write something, dump it out, rearrange it, rearrange it, rearrange it before I put it on the internet, before I put it on the screen. Because when I am doing hand and mind coordination, I find the flow is better. Some people, this is not a problem for them, but I need that for myself. And
Mm.
now we have and it does wonderful. Chat PT does a lot of great things. But before you get that, you have to know the right questions. It's like when we
Yes,
had
you
Google.
do.
If you do not ask the right questions, you can't do great research.
No.
So it still goes. You want to write those goals. And who is it for? The goals that you're writing down is for you
Mm-hmm.
first. And then it's for others after. You cannot write your goals with the mindset that you could, but it won't serve you for the people you're going to serve, because then you would be underserved. And we know that we have to be the first client. So we have to be served
Mm-hmm.
properly first. So if you're going through something, you write about it. You know, you're going through a split up, or you and your hubby's having a hard time. You write about it. You write how you can solve it. You're not responsible for him. You can't make him do, but you're looking at your portion of it. You solve that. You get you to a stable place so you can talk to somebody about it, not to bad talk him, not to be upset about him. You could feel that way, but that's not your goal, because that goal gets you nowhere. You can't help anybody with that kind of goal. The
Yes.
goal is to get even a little tiny bit over it so you could talk to somebody about a positive in it, about what needs to happen, what they could do, how they can get beyond that. And then you can do a little more, and then you can do a little more, and then a little more, because you're just going to have to do that to get to this other place.
Correct. Oh my goodness. Writing it down, mapping it out, and making these achievable goals, these achievable benchmarks. We call them benchmarks.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but they need to be achievable.
Yes. So that's why they have to be so micro. I talk that story quickly, but this is time. This is years that me and the boys hang. We hang
Yes.
so much for years that my friend Nigel, his younger brother and his younger sister, over time, at the time, my friend used to say, but I said no. He said, Karen, people are coming for counseling. You know this, right? The carver would say to me, Rod would say, Karen, people are coming for counseling. And I'm like, what are you talking about? But people would just come and sit at the bottom of my mom's step and just soak it in. I remember when Junior come, that was Nigel's younger brother, and he would sit there. I'm like, what do you want, Junior? He goes, I'm just listening. I'm like, to what? He's like, this, everybody's calling my mom Miss Norma. Miss Norma balcony is a gold mine. And I come in to observe everything I can.
Wisdom was speaking.
And I would say to him, what do you mean? He's like, that's all I got.
The word was getting around. You know, good things come when you come to these meetings, when you sit under people. And isn't that what it's all about?
That's really what it's all about. That's really what it's all about. Then his sister started coming, and she would sit on the steps, and she would talk to me a little bit. I say, you're going home? She's like, no, I'm going to wait a little bit. And so people would start coming. Friends' sons start coming. Mm-hmm. And the, you know, the congregation in the set start getting bigger than my mom balcony. And looking back, I could smile about it. But looking back, it used to be so crazy, Terry, that people would stand. There's no seat. There's not enough room. And people would just stand in my mom's yard, and we'd be having these conversations. I never see it the way I'm telling you it now. It was just...
You know something? That's the thing about a gift. The gift is not for us. The gift is for others.
True.
And because it comes naturally to us, a lot of times we don't realize that the gift is to make way for us. We say he'd make room for our gift because the gift will bring provision.
And that is so true. Every word of it is so true, I tell you. So, Sarah, you're saying if you got a gift, you got to use it. And you are using it already. Believe it or not, if whatever you're doing right now, for whoever listening to replay or come into play, whatever you have, you're using it. You just don't understand it yet. If you're not there yet, you don't understand what it is yet, but you're still doing it. Because when we're doing, there's a lot of practice that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so when you're in the practice stage, you know, university happens way more than just in the university. Colleges happen. And so when you're having that conversation and that stuff that's going on, you've been practicing it for a while. And so when, like my daughter Petra, I was talking to her the other day about something. She says, Mom, that was in your time and this would happen. And I said, you remember when? She says, as soon as I finished talking, I realized who my mom was. And I realized it's not how I see it. It really happens to you, Mom, because you go forth with who you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, when I was at home, I would carry my sister to school because that was the life I had. When I came here and the kids had summer break and the daycare couldn't take them, I took them to college with me. And a friend was asking me the other day, I said, I probably see them when I got to college, but the boys would take them. The office staff would take them. The counselor would take them. Yes. The librarian said to me, I can't believe you didn't bring the kids in here. I said, because everybody's collecting the kids and they're like, Caren, what shift am I getting again? And I was like, what shift? People were willing to help, lend a hand. Mm-hmm. And my close friend at the time, a friend named Anna, she said to me, Caren is how you are with people. People are feeling this is the way they can give back to you. I'm like, I didn't do anything. She goes, are you kidding me, right? I said, I didn't do anything.
I think we don't realize how valuable it is when we take the time. When we just listen. Some people just need us to listen because especially, I would say especially women, because women tend to be more verbal processors. And while we're talking, oh yeah, we could do this. I could do it this way, you know, and it just pops out during the course of the conversation.
Yeah. She told me that time, she says, Caren, do you know, before you start talking with me, I was going to quit. I didn't want to stay. I was like, you didn't tell me you were going to quit. She goes, I didn't tell anybody. But after a conversation with you, I was like, if she could do it and she's got 2 kids, what am I complaining about? She said, that guy at the back of the class from South Africa, he was going to quit. Did you know because of the conversation he heard, he's still here? Like, what are you talking about? I had like 2 words with him.
Well, yes, I can remember speaking in several people's lives. What do you mean you're getting ready? You're going to let people just take your livelihood like that? You're just gonna give it up? No. Just get back behind that desk.
Exactly. So we've been working in whatever it is we got already, right? We've been
Mhm.
doing it. So you write it down, no matter how messy it look. You can clear that up later. Just get it out of your mind, get it down on paper. And you're doing it for you first before anybody else.
I love that. Say that again.
You're doing it for you first before anybody else.
Go to the front of your own line.
Yes. Because when you go to the front of your line, what will you get out of it? All the things that you think that all the things you need is in that same parcel. Everything you need is in that parcel. You don't have to know how. You don't have to know how. Pastor was saying 2 weeks ago, he says, Pastor Mark says, when you want something from God and you say, God, if I fall down the stairs or if I bite this apple, then I'll know that you say I should do it. He said, that's not faith.
No,
Faith is you don't have to have no proof. You just talk to God about it and then you go about your business doing
exactly.
it. Leave it alone. And
Take your hands off
making
of
a bargain with God about what he has to prove to you.
Take your hands off of it. That's like testing the ladder before you start.
And I said, that's a good way to put it, Pastor. That's a good way to put it.
Because we don't test the chair before we sit in it. We just sit in it.
We just sit in it.
We expect the light to come on when we flick that switch, right? True. We don't look back and say, "Oh, I wonder where are the wires? I can't see any wires. I don't know if this is going to work. They're all up in the wall. I wonder if they're all connected."
Nope.
We don't need to know how things work all the time.
No. He's going to do his thing. He's going to get you there. And you just watch it happen. You just sit back and you just watch it happen. And you get that thing written down. You get it written down. Next week, we're going to talk about how we sorting it out. But you get it written down. Because I begin talking about the doctor's office, the emergency room. If you want
to what is it that we're writing down? Are we writing down what we want? Are we writing down how we think, what we need? What are we writing down?
We're first brain dumping.
Okay.
We're getting it out there. And then we're talking about what is it we need out of it. Because when you write it down, you start realizing what you need. And lots of times you don't realize all that you need because it's just an idea. And let's say the goal was to, let's say buy a phone or a camera because you want to be a content creator. But right now you just have a phone and you want to get a camera. And if you sit down, you write, I want to get a camera. It's going to cost me $200 or $300. And it's going to do this, this, and that for me. You get to question yourself, would the phone do the same thing? Would it do 50% of it? Could I start with a phone? Do I really need to invest the $280? Or could I put it somewhere else? Like you can have that whole conversation with yourself. And then you can get to say, well, if I'm using my phone, where would I need to be? What kind of lighting would I need? And you would write all of that down. And then now that you got it straightened out, what would I talk about? Why do I want to talk about this? How's this going to serve me? How am I going to feel after I talk about this? Once you get that down, who is it going to be for? The person who I was 2-3 weeks ago. That's the person I'm talking to. Now you start finding your avatar and you're not worrying about how much money they make and all of that and what books they read because you're starting to understand. And that's the person you're talking to right now. Are that going to be the same person maybe not even 3 months down the road? Probably not. But right now, that's who you're talking to. Because you have left her. She no longer is with you. This is the other part. People don't realize, that's why every day is a new day. You've left that person behind. You only drag her with you because you're frightened to go ahead. That's what it is. But if you would leave her behind and you can just embrace today would be such a good day for you because that's what you have today. You cannot get yesterday. All you can get is today. And today is a good day. Enjoy that day. Do for today. That's why it's for yourself. So when you're helping your yesterday self and your 2 days ago self, you're bringing her into the limelight. You're bringing the person into the limelight because she's dragging her foot. That's your avatar. She's not there yet. She wasn't able to do it. So you're giving her a hand. You're giving her a hand by giving her a freebie or selling something for $10 or something for $5. Whatever you're doing, you're bringing her. You're not trying to charge her arm and a leg yet because you're still bringing her because you haven't found out everything yet about yourself. And there's no need to find out everything about yourself right now because you can't handle the whole package. So we step at a time.
I love it. All righty, guys. We've been talking about write it all down as far as goal setting is concerned.
Mhm.
Coach, we look forward to the next session so we can find out where do we go from here. Oh my gosh, you've been listening to Coach Caren all the way from Profits in Daily. You can find Coach Caren on Facebook and on Instagram under Profits in Daily with Coach Caren Fern. Coach, you have been a blessing as always. We want to remind people that they can make an appointment to see you. And we're putting that up on the screen so they can screenshot that.
Yes.
And also we will put it in the chat. You know, make an appointment with Coach Caren. She's willing to actually talk to you, and you don't have to go all the way to her front porch. What a blessing. What a blessing. And many times, this is where the nuggets are in conversations. So we highly encourage you to do that, to go and do what you need to do in order to connect with Coach Caren. In the meantime, hello everyone. Thank you for tuning in. In the meantime, we want to remind you that if you're looking to become a part of the BizChicks community, simply text biz to 33777, or you can go to bizchicks.net. We'd love to share with our community what it is you do and how you serve.
Yes.
So with that, we'll see you soon. Tomorrow we'll be talking with Robin Shamizu and friends about healthy, happy habits.
Yes.
And on Friday, we will be talking with the Biz Chicks, talking about make tech that makes your life easier. Have a great day, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you again, Coach.
You're welcome.
Thank you for tuning in today. We trust you've learned something to help you build a more profitable business and take the hassle out of your hustle. See you next time.